Welcome to the American Med Spa Association podcast, Medical Spa Insider. This week, AmSpa founder Thiersch is speaking with Beto Casellas, Executive Vice President and Chief Executive Officer of Health and Wellness at Synchrony. Before we begin, there were some technical difficulties during this recording. Beto's audio cut out twice. I will jump in and add what was missed.
Refresh your body, mind, and career journey at the Women in Aesthetics Leadership Conference being held October 3rd through the 5th at California's beautiful Terranea Resort. Walk is more than just another convention. It's an immersive retreat that combines education and networking with rejuvenation. For women aesthetic professionals who dedicate their time to the health and happiness of others, this is the opportunity to get away and focus on your own wellness. Reconnect to your passions and return with bold new inspiration for your business. Walk celebrates the med spa industry's opportunities for female empowerment and entrepreneurship, including the ceremony for the 2025 Distinguished Women Awards. Find out more and register at experiencewalk.com. That's experiencewalc.com. And as a Medical Spa Insider listener, you can receive 10% off your registration if you use the promo code WALC10. That's WALC 10.
Promo code valid for inclusive registration until September 11, 2025 at 11:59 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, or standard registration until October 3rd, 2025 at 11:59 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Promo code only applies to the primary registrant and cannot be combined with any additional offers.
All right. Welcome, everybody, to the Medical Spa Insider podcast. This is your host, Thiersch, and we have Beto Casellas. I'm not saying that as well as you say it. It sounds much better when you say it, but nevertheless, I appreciate you joining us. Beto is the Executive Vice President, and Chief Executive Officer for Health and Wellness for Synchrony Financial, which, for those of you who are listening, probably know that better as CareCredit. And CareCredit has been a stalwart in the aesthetics industry for a long time. They provide patient financing, and they've been a great partner of ours as well. But they do a lot for the industry, allowing folks to get patient financing for treatments, both in the non-surgical and surgical, but also a ton of other areas as well. And we check in with Beto as well as others in CareCredit from time to time to get a pulse on what's been going on with them and what's going on with the industry. And in particular, this time, they have recently released some, I wouldn't say it's a new initiative, but it's more of a public-facing initiative on fair financing principles that they're sharing with the public a little more in a little more public-facing fashion. Before we get into that, though, Beto, I would love to let folks know who haven't met you yet. I've met you, known you for a bit. Let us know who you are, where you come from, and we'll get into a little bit about Synchrony and CareCredit, because I think CareCredit does so much more than what people maybe realize, and it's always good to kind of get into that a little to let folks know what's up.
Well, Alex, first of all, thank you. Thanks for the warm welcome. Great to be back here again. Love doing this with you, and we think it's a great offer that you bring to your members across in terms of bringing different guests and different folks that are in the industry on what's the latest. And so hopefully we'll do that today. I think we will, yeah. and go from there. So, as Alex mentioned, I lead the overall health and wellness platform for Synchrony, and the main thing is the oversight of the CareCredit network. We have over 285,000 medical providers that seek our offers in terms of bringing patient financing to be able to have our patients really pay for the care that they need when they need it. We do that day in and day out. This is what we do. We've been doing it for almost 40 years now. And, as you recall, Alex, we started in dentistry back 38 years ago, where patients needed to kind of offset or being able to say yes to procedures that were not fully covered by healthcare or by health insurance. And we started there. We moved to veterinarian, to vision, audiology in terms of hearing aids, And obviously, we've been with cosmetics and the med spa for many years now, in terms of being able to help consumers that want to take care of their body, take care of their health, take care of their wellness, and being able to provide the alternative to pay over the course of time, and being able to bring flexibility of payments that fits their budget and what they're up to, in being able to take care of in a responsible way, and also take care of their body and their wellness and their overall good being. So
Here, Beto says we have 12 million.
cardholders that use the CareCredit network for a variety of methods, about 65% of our folks use it repeatedly, month after month. And so they may start their journey with us in taking care of their pet, and then suddenly they understand that a med spa may be able to open or be able to accept CareCredit, and they quickly use that line of credit that they have and being able to do something related to that piece of their care. And so that's sort of what we do. And again, we have a large network that has been around. We bring customers to many of our providers that are already ready and have capacity to pay. They have a line of credit ready to be used. And then we use our provider locator to help locations be offered to many of our consumers to go to our website at carecredit.com, being able to find many of our providers that are part of our network. And so it's been very good. It's been a good year. And we're continuing to look for ways that we can innovate and bring more consumers into being patients of all of you out there.
Yeah. So, it fits, hand in glove, obviously, with cosmetics and aesthetics, because, you mentioned started with, folks who are trying to figure out how to cover that gap and bridge the gap when insurance maybe doesn't cover. Obviously, aesthetics, cosmetics is all cash pay, so it fits very well. The other thing that I've always liked about the way your program works is it does, number one, it's always been very transparent and very trustworthy, and it's good for the industry, and it's good for the industry to have good, solid financial institutions like Synchrony behind its back. And I think it's been great to see. I'm curious, just what like looking at cosmetics from kind of the big picture. I mean, it's what overall, what's your take on kind of how things are going in cosmetics? What's the overall economy and on in general? Because it's been, it's been a kind of a choppy, I would say,
Yep.
last year to 18 months or so, but it's, not bad, but not great either. And it just kind of depends on maybe the med spa and where you are. And you guys have such great interaction with the consumers. I'm curious what you're seeing.
Yeah, we certainly have seen that over the last probably, Alex, 12 to 18 months. And what I would say, several months prior to the end of last year, you had the uncertainty of an election year.
Yeah.
You have the consumers were really being a lot more selective, mainly because of the uncertainty that they feel out there in terms of the confidence that they have, whether it's trying to keep a job, whether it's, hey, how are things going to go? And then post that, there has been some uncertainty and back and forth as to where the consumers are. So the word that I would use is they're cautious and selective in terms of their spend, but they're still spending. And what I would say is also the I would say the top third of the credit spectrum continues to spend and is moving the economy forward from being able to have recurrent transactions, being able to do that. I think the middle third is the one that is being a lot more selective, and they may not be using their discretionary dollars as much, maybe saving a little bit more and being more cautionary in terms of using their lines of credit for the emergency or for the unexpected or for the uncertainty that exists. And so you have that dynamic where in probably in the growth moments of time, you'll have the top third continuing to spend the way they do, and then you have that middle third that really uses credit in a smart way, in a responsible way, to care for some needs, and they feel good about where they are in terms of being able to hold a job and things like that. And employment continues to be strong in the country.
Yep.
And so that's what we're seeing right now, and continue to see a little bit of a rebound here on the second half as things kind of settled from
Yeah.
the election, from some of the uncertainty on tariffs, from some of the stuff that is ongoing, that people kind of feel a certain way around how they think about their future, and the consumer confidence at a lower level right now. And you have seen those metrics over the last 6 to 12 months, but at least it's not getting worse. And I think
Right.
is one where consumers are cautiously and selectively spending going forward. And, we hope that will continue to go forward into the future.
Yeah, I think that's right. It's again, you're looking at it from a much more technical and data-driven view than I am, but just kind of feeling it from the market, it does seem like people were just a little unsettled as far as where things were going to go, but they're starting to settle down, and the world's not coming to an end just yet. Everything seems to be fine, so we're kind of settling in. So let's talk about the reason we brought you on is CareCredit, or Synchrony in general, has a program they launched, and I don't want to call it a new program because I know you've been working on this. Is something you kind
Yeah.
of live by, fair financing principles. And it's from what I can see from it, and I took a look at obviously the press release and the website, and I think it's great. But it's the idea is, and correct me if I'm misstating this, but it's to make sure that folks who are using credit, who are coming into say a med spa and accessing credit using the CareCredit credit card, or any credit card really, know what they're getting into. And there's all, because these things can be complicated. There can be hidden fees. Sometimes the interest rates are maybe not quite as transparent as I think. Tell me what you mean by fair financing principles, why you're doing this right now, and what you hope to get out of it from the public.
Yeah, look, the fair financing principles, it's an online resource that we created just to help consumers gain the knowledge and have the resources at the tip of their hands to feel confident about making a decision around patient financing, something that they're considering in terms of their health and wellness and being able to pay for it. And we launched it recently. Now, you said we've been at this for many, many years. We've had this with many of our providers in our contracts, in our training materials, in our module trainings that we do with many of our MedSpa employees in terms of how to speak around patient financing, how to open up a CareCredit account, and things like that. And we said, hey, wouldn't it be cool? Wouldn't it be beneficial to exploit that we have done with our providers and make it more consumer oriented, and really use it as a way for consumers to learn more, and us being a lot more transparent and open around the same things that we have sparked for many years. And so we're just giving a lot more access to the tools and resources that our own employees have access to, and
Mhm.
saying, okay, let's shift it here and actually invite
Beto says 12 million cardholders.
with prospects and people that are checking us out and saying, hey, if you want to learn how to pay for things, if you want to understand what a loan is, if you want to understand what deferred interest is, if you want to know what the payment options can be, if you want to understand a payment calculator in terms of how much interest I may be paying, or how much I need to pay every month to get a particular procedure done, these tools we're making it available in our website.
The website is carecredit.com/FFP.
And so from that standpoint, that's one way that we said, I think this is going to be beneficial. We're trying to make care more accessible. We're trying to make care more affordable. And this is one way to being able to bring that to many of our consumers out there that sees us as CareCredit and part of the
Mhm.
network that exists in med spas across the United States.
Yeah, it's so important. We'll make sure to put links up to that page so you can see it. And there's also, I mean, there was a good graphic on there that I saw that I thought was pretty intuitive. I was just kind of curious as we're getting into this, um, and this is maybe not necessarily indicative of med spas, but like, um, I guess what's the risk of folks maybe not knowing, right? I mean, I'm kind of always been it's always interesting to me and somewhat depressing that there's groups out there that tend to not be transparent, that the fair principles aren't really top of mind. They're not trying to put it out there. Why was it important for CareCredit to get this out there, like at this point? Because I said there's a quote you had where you've been using these principles within your organization for 35, 40 years. So it's not new to what you're doing as far as the transparency and how you operate. Um, Making sure that the patients have full access to it is I think is really cool and admirable. What's the downside risk to patients? Because it isn't nothing. I mean, there are cards and programs out there that maybe aren't quite as transparent, and so what's the risk that people are going to be running into if they don't take these steps to really learn the principles?
Well, I think it's like anything. I think making a financial decision, I think, is important. It can be consequential to the well-being overall, whether it's in the healthcare space, whether it's in the retail space, whether it's buying a car or buying a home or getting into a lease for a rental property, or having another large purchase in your household. uh, that's a financial decision, and basically being able to protect your capacity to being able to have that into the future is what the main consequence is. And we really want to equip our consumers with this type of information so they understand what good behaviors are, what are the good things that can occur around this, how can this take care of your family and your household in a much more responsible and good way that if you're not. And we also want to increase the confidence level of consumers around these products, around being able to say, hey, I do have a job. I am able to use credit in a smart way to be able to pay for care that I need, and being able to also be responsible with my budget on other things that I need to care for my family or for people that I care about within my household. And so using this information is for equipping the consumer with better decision making. I think we're all for that. I think, Alex, I think probably we touched on this when we talked the last time, but in healthcare overall, you know, not so many years ago, it was the third party payer that was responsible for paying
Mhm.
most of the bill. Now, in med spa and in wellness, obviously that has not been the case. But you get that orientation, and that's shifting. The consumer is becoming a payer in terms of caring for their health and their wellness. And we see, based on our research, that consumers do want to care for their health because they know that an investment in their body, an investment in their health, an investment in their wellness is going to increase their longevity and kind of their health span and lifespan that they currently think that they could have. And so that's becoming a bigger concern for individuals out there, and treating them as, hey, I got to be able to use all the resources that I have, including how to pay for things. And if
Mhm.
that's important for me, I'm going to dedicate a little bit of my budget into making my body a lot better, in much better shape, becoming more conscious around my wellness and my well-being, and being able to do that to have a better life. And I think we're able to help consumers get to that point. That's why I think this is important for consumers to know, because it gives them the opportunity to say yes. Otherwise, they may not have been able to know that they can actually afford it in a responsible way.
Right. So it's both just kind of knowledge that it's available for them, and then kind of the how it works. Just because to me, the one thing that I always, whenever I'm looking at any of these things, whether it's, like you said, buying a car or anything, it's the language is always so technical, right? You've got, like deferred interest, all all this stuff, and most people don't necessarily know what that is. And so you're looking at some of these figures, and it'll say you've got this APR and you've got this whatever it is, and it's really tough to kind of figure out how to pinpoint what you're actually going to be paying, how long it's going to take, and all that. So what are for the med spas out there that have CareCredit? And by the way, for those of you who don't, you should. I mean, everyone should carry CareCredit. It's a great tool. For those of you who do, like, what are some? How can they use this to help number one, their practices and to help educate their patients that are coming in the door.
Yeah, I mean, there is a number of options that I think with the fair financing principles that we bring forth to light, whether it's a procedure calculator, which kind of estimates the cost of more than 700 most common health and wellness and veterinary care procedures that we have. I think we developed this with our providers, kind of using medical aesthetic practices to help their clients prepare for the costs of care that they want.
Yeah,
And
that's
so
awesome.
that's, I think, really helpful to being able to do that jointly with providers and being able to bring to light what is that in a very authentic, transparent, and an easy way to do. I think bringing payment options into the mix of all this, being able to use CareCredit or others, and again, in many cases, it in healthcare overall, it complements insurance. In other cases, it pays for the whole bill, and you're able to do it over time, whether it's 12 or 18 months or 24 months. And in the deferred interest piece, which has been around for many, many, many years, and people have used it in other parts, whether it's on electronics or on furniture. In healthcare, they have used it as well, and being able to pay over time. And as long as they pay that bill or that amount that they borrow within the allotted amount of time, they will not pay interest for that. And so that's the beauty of deferred interest, in a way that people can pay for, a $2,000 procedure, pay it over 18 months, and being able to just pay the $2,000 without paying any interest if they paid that amount in full by the 18 months. Some of the things around the calculators, I think, are really helpful, because you can play around, okay, do I sign up for the additional care that I would like to get, see if I can afford that by calculating whether that's right or not. And then we go into basic stuff like billing statement. I know it's not basic at times, but being able to read and understand a billing statement, I think, is important, whether it's in health and wellness or in healthcare space or any other parts of your financial life as a household, where you see a billing statement, understanding what that is and when the due date is and what is the minimum payment and what does the minimum payment do and doesn't do. What is the amount in full that you may need to pay? How much do you want to pay every month so that you pay the deferred interest in time? And being able to provide those tips along is part of what providers have used over time. And now consumers can actually see this at the comfort of their own device, and being able to have the access online of all these tools and capabilities that we've been able to put online.
Yeah, I love it. I've always thought, and I'm sure you agree, but just kind of just two people talking here, like, there's not a whole lot of financial education given in this, country to folks when they're growing up. And it's like how to read a credit card statement, how to read any of these statements. It's like, how does APR even work? Like, you see these numbers, and it's kind of tough to figure it out. I think it's, with and to be honest, I think even some providers and some med spa owners who are dealing with this could stand to be more educated as well on kind of what everything is as well. So I think it's admirable. And it's a great idea that you all are doing this. The more that folks can see and know and be educated, and transparency obviously is key. I've heard that not so much as much in med spa, but I mean maybe a little bit. But like in certainly in other industries, like what people don't want is, you don't want to enter into some sort of an agreement where you think it's one thing and it ends up being another, right? That tends to be what just really drives me crazy. It drives our members crazy. And I'm sure this helps with that. Are any other tools or tips that you can think of that folks might be need to be aware of?
Yeah, I mean, I think what you mentioned is critical in terms of understanding, and I think our providers do a really good job in terms of bringing that forth, being straight and candid and transparent with our potential patients that are going to use products like this in the industry, and being able to understand that it's a loan that requires payments every month, and understanding what the terms and conditions of the actual loan is the conversation that needs to happen up front. In many cases, on the med spas, they do it before the procedure takes care, and as they're investigating where to go and doing the research online. So I think this is going to complement some of the education that exists, and it's going to couple into the already existing mechanisms that we have out there to bring transparency and affordability in many of the procedures that we offer to many of our patients that seek kind of wellness for their lives. So I think this is all part of it. It's very complementary to what we were doing. I think it's going to provide a nice boost in terms of consumers feeling more comfortable about getting care and how they can afford it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Well, it's good stuff. I appreciate the hard work that you guys are doing on this. As I mentioned, y'all have been super helpful to everything that AmSpa has done, and I know the industry is grateful. What's next for Synchrony and for Beto specifically? You're gonna go. You got any plans? Any more world domination you're gonna look forward to in the next couple of
No, no, we're just going to continue. Listen, we're going to continue to serve the industries that we're in and seek more consumers out there about what we offer. We want to help providers continue to run their business and make their business greater and bigger to what currently they have a great relationship. And then from a technology standpoint, we continue to innovate in technology. I think integrating into practice management software systems in a much more cohesive way. We're investing on technology as it relates to that relationships with the patients and the provider, and how do we intersect and making it easier and more seamless for the providers to do business with us, as well as consumers being able to use CareCredit in a digital fashion. So we continue to invest on that piece.
Awesome.
And then I think on increasing the amount of credit that we go out there, I think one of the things that we're continue to explore is how do we say yes to more patients and bring kind of second offerings behind CareCredit as it relates to getting more consumers an ability to borrow money and pay in a responsible way. And so those are things that we want to continue to expand and continue to serve and improve some of the things that we do well. We love the feedback that we get from many of you out there listening to today's podcast. Continue to work with our folks that are visiting your locations and continue to give us the feedback on how we can even work greater together.
Yeah, we'll continue to gather that. I think everything, and I echo everything that you said. I think those are laudable things to work on. Certainly getting kind of how to approve more patients is always going to be helpful and wanted. But I think people also understand, that there's certain things that you have to look out for as a financial institution. I think the other thing for us is just, what we need to do better as an organization. And I mean, AmSpa is, and we're already working with you on this. We've talked with the folks on your team. Is y'all have so many good resources when it comes to just kind of, again, consumer outlook, what you guys are doing. And we need to make sure to bring those to bear so that folks can really get a, see kind of what's going on, because you have such a good handle on the economy and what's coming and how people are spending. So we'll do a much better job of getting that out there to people, because I think there's so many resources that you guys have that I look at all the time that I want to make sure folks get to. But anyway, That's for your time. I appreciate your time though so much.
Thank you, Alex. Super.
And we'll have to have you back in a little bit and get caught up again. But everyone can go check out that say the website again if you don't mind, so folks can find
that. It's carecredit.com/F as in Frank, F as in Frank, P as in Paul.
Awesome.
carecredit.com FFP.
And we'll make sure to get that up there so folks can see it. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time as always. I know you're busy, and we'll talk to you soon.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Alex.
Thank you.
Refresh your body, mind, and career journey at the Women in Aesthetics Leadership Conference, being held October 3rd through the 5th at California's beautiful Terranea Resort. Walk is more than just another convention. It's an immersive retreat that combines education and networking with rejuvenation. For women aesthetic professionals who dedicate their time to the health and happiness of others, this is the opportunity to get away and focus on your own wellness. Reconnect to your passions and return with bold new inspiration for your business. Walk celebrates the med spa industry's opportunities for female empowerment and entrepreneurship, including the ceremony for the 2025 Distinguished Women Awards. Find out more and register at experiencewalk.com. That's experiencewalc.com. And as a Medical Spa Insider listener, you can receive 10% off your registration if you use the promo code WALK10. That's WALC 10.
Promo code valid for inclusive registration until September 11, 2025 at 11:59 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, or standard registration until October 3rd, 2025 at 11:59 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Promo code only applies to the primary registrant and cannot be combined with any additional offers. Thank you to our producers, Madeline Muller, Marketing Content Coordinator, who organizes the podcast schedule and guests, provides topics and talking points. And myself, Joe DeGuzman, Technology Operations Manager. I handle the audio and video editing, voiceovers, and tech. Kate Harper, Senior Digital Marketing Coordinator, who makes all of our graphics and manages the podcast platform. Esme Uriostegui, Senior Social Media Coordinator, who makes and posts all the clips for the podcast and posts them to our social feeds. Our music is by Ghost Score. Thank you for listening to or watching the Medical Spa Insider podcast. Please follow or subscribe to wherever you listen to your podcasts and subscribe to our YouTube channel for future episodes. For more information about the American Med Spa Association, please check our show notes or in the description below.